welcome. Well, this is Ponytown. What is Ponytown, you may ask? Ponytown is a massive MMORPG with lots of creation, lots of decoration. The character builder, for example, in itself is enormous and allows you to create so many things, from deers to random creatures to ponies to unicorns to pegasi. Even there are some that have even taken it into their own hands to create species for this game. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Today, we're going to talk about moderation. What is moderation? Well, Google defines moderation as the avoidance of excess or extremes, especially regarding one's behavior or political opinions. Let's see if we can get anything else. Well, we're going to talk about Ponytown's moderation. Ponytown is a game with, let's go to the about, with maybe 6 moderators. That's not a lot. Especially when you consider this. What is this? Well, let me tell you. This is the amount of players on Ponytown, which totals to about 14,285. That's a lot of people, especially when you consider this as well. This is Ponytown's Patreon. They ask for support because obviously making a game takes a lot. If anyone has ever seen a game backed, it takes a lot. This is what I want to focus on. 3,979 patrons. When you do the math on that, that is 3,979 divided by the number previously, we get 20.278543. And when you turn that into a percentage, that's 27%, give or take. That's not a lot when you consider it. Less than 27% of this game is backed. And I know I'm here to talk about moderation and everything, but I just want to give you the facts first. When you consider that less than 27% of this game is a backed project, and that there are over 14,000 players and only 6 mods, which I don't know if you noticed, but there are 2 mods per server, per language. That leaves so many people to be moderated by only 2 people. And that doesn't even count the amount of people constantly sending emails, as I do not know that. What does that mean? Well, that leaves us with the type of moderation that we have. Ponytown mods are very much not seen around the map, not seen anywhere really. I'm unsure about the Russian and the Portuguese servers, but I know on the English servers, they are never seen. The devs are seen, but no mods. Why is this? Well, I believe this is because of one specific thing. This is because we do not have amount of money required to pay for the amount of mods that we would need. As I mentioned previously, there are tiers for supporters. We only see that there are a certain amount of patrons. We don't see who is what tier. Because, believe it or not, Ponytown is not an official thing. They can't get an official thing. They can't get anything official to it because Hasbro would come after them. So, these supporters here are the only thing supplying them with payment. The mods that work on this do not have are not, how do I put this? They are not working full-time on this game. Because obviously we all have lives, and if we're not getting paid as much as we could, I mean, you wouldn't work on that either, which is a human thing. We're all humans. We can't afford to do something that isn't paying the bills. Especially if that's 24/7. And again, there's only 2 mods per language, which limits the amount of responses we can get, as if it goes to one mod, it has to be filtered and filtered until it gets to the proper mod. So, what do we do? How does this affect people? Well, I actually managed to do a census. So these are all opinions and got a number of responses through about the Ponytown moderation. Well, myself and a person I know have gathered, and they are from both the 18+ server, the PG server, and a Discord server that I run. I will say I found it very interesting collecting this data because not a lot of people wanted to talk on Ponytown. They were very much believing that I was going to rat them out to the mods, or that me and the person I asked to also collect were rats. And I find it very fascinating that people are so scared to even talk on Ponytown about the mods. I don't know if people believe that just because they are talking, they will get banned, or that if they're being baited, they'll be banned, which it was very hard to convince people that I wasn't baiting them. I will say that much. Okay, let us begin. So the first couple points we get, and these are all taken directly from the Whispers or from Discord. We have useless bakshish, which I had to look up. It is tipping, charitable giving, and certain forms of political corruption and bribery in Middle East, South Asia. Then we have there needs to be a crackdown on the servers on PT. Pink Lumen, which I will get into personally in a moment after this. They don't seem to be moderating very well. This is how you can tell it's taken directly from it. They good and all, but they seriously need to give us some more walls, like colors from the bakery. It's not good. The mods don't deal with trolls well, then the innocent people. And this is one I got straight from a troll. Literally, someone was coming up to me and trying to troll. I was like, hey, can you give me your opinion on this? He's like, oh, I try to troll, but yeah, I'll give you my opinion. I've never actually seen anyone I reported to get banned, so I wish they cared a bit more. They don't care about the players, to be honest. And as I get to these longer ones, these are the ones I got from Discord, obviously. So I think the PT staff is quite horrible. They rarely ban people that deserve it, don't engage with the community much. Overall, I think it's good, where PT moderation excels. is when it comes to monitoring species events. There have been times when lumens need help and staff was able to get on when we needed them. One area moderation could be improved on is making sure this is saying one area where moderation could be improved is making sure a few mods or admins are in game more frequently while there is a PT email for reports. I feel like staff being in game could prevent bad situations from escalating faster. That way people could get the help they need right away. Then we have I Barely See Them, basically another Roblox YouTube moderation, which I don't know much about Roblox, but I do know from watching YouTubers that YouTube moderation isn't great. They are there when you don't need them, not there when you do. False accusations and preferences for paying supporters than free players. Absolutely incompetent. I think more organization and more moderators are needed. I will say they are overworked as a small team and continue to need more helpers for the growing population. So, well, yes, they're not really here when you need them. They also can only handle so much as a small handful of people against thousands of incoming reports and complaints every day. Honestly, the only time I actually see moderation during 18 plus is during 18 plus ban waves. It's not anywhere else when seriously needed, such as in cases of legitimate harassment. Someone gave the opinion that in-game reporting would be amazing if we were able to take in-game screenshots. Is there a reason we can't have the 13 plus server? This is actually what's going over in another thing further down. It is curious that you mentioned the Russian server since they only have one moderator for thousands of players, not to mention there is a language barrier. I went over this, kind of. I think the community probably solves more issues than mods do. I have a friend who is 19, got banned on the 18 plus, and they still wouldn't resolve it when they proved their age. Also came across a lot of offensive skins or users which never get banned. Like others said, report system would be really good. Oh, shoot. The community has had to work out and moderate so many of its own problems entirely separate from the goings on in the game that it is important to highlight mods only have the ability to handle PT-related issues. They can't be blamed for all the drama connected with the community. That being said, I hopped on the game for the first time in a while, and not a minute later I'm sending a report on someone ban evading. It's rare that I log on without having to sort something out or help someone, something I wish wasn't the case. I think there should be more mods, but I don't remember the last time mod applications were open. I have some insight on this I will get to once we finish the whole document. Okay, here's that point I was talking about. Supporter insight. 13 plus server is in its final phases of development according to the mods. Pure speculation from my end, but from how I see it, it'll likely be out sometime early next year, if we're being generous. The Ponytown mod could be better. When working on slur-censored and offensive words, someone could be at docks and go off on a racist and unsavory slurs and opinions, and no one is there to put them in check. Just my personal opinion. Infuriating, pretty much. All due respect, the supporter price update was a bad solution to a real problem. I've heard countless of issues being addressed as we're short-staffed, we don't have enough money, etc. Yet I don't see them reaching out for more staff at all unless it's behind closed doors. I think they're much more worried about minors being on 18 plus or people having alt accounts than they were about real problems like harassment, etc. Without the player base, Ponytown is a game you'll get bored of in 10 minutes. Raising the supporter prices and continuing to be absent is a kick to the face. Yeah, 18 plus is so unmoderated when it comes down to that stuff. There's also ERPs allowed, which, yeah, it's the 18 plus server, but since you can change your birthday, more minors are still in that server, so they should make it either we can't change our birthday or not allow those type of roleplays. Okay. So, let's start from the top then. Let's start with these three. The political corruption, there needs to be a crackdown on servers, and useless. While I do not agree that they are completely useless, I solidly agree that there needs to be a crackdown on the servers. Because, like how some of these other people said about not seeing the mods, not seeing anyone around, not seeing anything really, there is so little. I understand why mods aren't on all the time. I will say that. I understand that. Because if they were on all the time, what would stop people from constantly just sending crap to their whispers and sending false reports and trying to drag them away to drama and stuff that people have started for no reason? Because again, there's trolls and people feed the trolls, and then suddenly everything goes haywire. I understand why mods aren't on all the time. But at the same time, if the mods aren't on, why are the devs on all the time? With the devs being on all the time, it makes it seem like there should be more availability through the devs and the mods. So either tell the team that devs should redirect, or maybe take off their tags when they're in game so that it doesn't immediately send someone to the devs. And let's talk about them. Let's talk about the bans and trolls, shall we? Bans and trolls. If you don't see someone getting banned from your report, there's a high chance they couldn't find anything in their logs. The way it works is you get banned. You get a report, and if you give your ID and you've hidden this person, they can go into that person hidden through your ID and figure out if that person has said anything that is bannable. If they have, then they'll ban them or do whatever they have, shadow ban, doing all this, essentially take appropriate action. But if there is nothing in that person's logs, like because they can go through everything, whispers, the party chat, everything. But if there's nothing there, they can't ban them. So that either means they are being careful and doing it on other platforms, or the person is actually innocent. And it's hearsay. They don't care about players. This is something that came up so much in this document. I don't know if you noticed through me reading. And I have mixed feelings on that, personally. I feel like they want to care, but they do not put out enough stuff. A good way to do this would be to either have a community Twitter, a community with constant updates, not really constant, but maybe every so often they'll give little screenshots of something coming, maybe like just a single little bits of pixels of something coming, or maybe show updates of something that someone's working on, like the artists. I know a number of people do that. Luminous Kingdom, they have a Twitter, and in their Twitter, they'll sometimes post updates of something being worked on, like future sprites coming to the game. I don't know if Ashes Town does that too, but I know I've seen some things with Ashes Town like that. And it would feel a lot more personal if there was something where all the devs could send out little hints of sprites coming to be. And I understand that some they don't want to, but it does not feel like there is a lot of connection with their player base. They need to connect to their player base, because right now the player base is basically in the shadows. Unless you are a Patreon, we don't see anything. And it's really sad. That is why a lot of people feel that they only care, and that's probably why it comes to political corruption. People think of political corruption, a lot of corruption in there, and just they don't care. Because only these supporters get to see things, which is completely fair. They are paying, they are supporting the game. They should get a lot more than people who aren't paying. But people who aren't paying still deserve to not be left in the dark. We are always in the dark. We never know when updates are coming. And it's not a good thing. it feels like we are being abandoned and left behind by the game we really like. And if they could make a way to connect to their players, I think it would be incredible. Like either a page you go to and there is some little hints of things to come, or a Twitter where they post screenshots of sprites to come that they're working on, sprites of the other things they're working on, things like that, so we can see what's coming. I think it would be an amazing addition. I've already gone over the barely see them. I understand why they're not in game. Because let's be honest, if the mods were in game all the time, what would you do? You would go after them all the time for every little drama that started, whether it was a troll, whether it was serious. You would go out to them all the time. And like I showed previously, there's not a lot of mods. I do not believe they are incompetent with this one. I do not believe they are incompetent. Because with what I've dealt with them, they are very much competent and able to take care of things. If there was a way we could connect more, I believe it would be incredible. More organization and more moderators. Absolutely. I agree with this one. I will give some insight on something that's further down. They say, after they did the first moderator thing, they saved every single one that they believed was possible. And because of that, we don't see any more moderator trials or stuff coming through because they've already got the ones they liked saved. So whenever they can hire on more mods, they will come and reach out. Everything is saved. It's just about them reaching out whenever they need to. But I do agree that they need more moderators. And I understand there is not a lot of money. Because like I showed you previously, was 27%. And it is not a lot to fund a game that has nothing. Talking about the other point, the Patreon update. I understand why it happened. It had to happen because of this being an online game where you have to pay for the server. And there are a lot of servers. Look at all these servers. They have to pay for every single one of these, essentially. And with that comes to a lot of money. I think I've heard that it's hundreds of dollars just for 2 servers. So for all those servers, it's got to be a lot. But yet we still haven't gotten more mods because they are needed. They are absolutely needed. And we are losing mods again. We are losing certain mods for whatever reason. They have to be let go. And it's so unbelievably bad for the community because new people are being added on, new people are being taken off, and obviously that would affect the email. How things are going back and forth, moderators slipping in and out, and that would affect how the email is received. That would affect everything, essentially. That is awful, because we as a community are now left in the dark. Like I said previously, we're left in the dark about all of this. We don't know anything. And without any organization to this, we can't be seeing anything. Okay, the only time I see actual moderation is 18 plus ban waves. I know that in 18 plus ban waves there is a lot of banning, but yet I have also seen cases where there is legitimate, like this person says, there's cases of legitimate harassment, and it never ends because they can't get proper screenshots in or something like that. Because another thing, the Ponytown staff does not give you a direct incorporation of what you should get for a report And if no one knows that, which I've proven through my server, no one knows how to report really, how is someone going to send in a proper report? They can't. They can't because they don't know how to do it. In-game reporting. This is something I deeply agree with, but also slightly disagree with. Because I know if it came out, there would be so much spamming of it. So maybe a way to do this would be make a reporting button, but give it a cooldown of like a couple hours so that there isn't spamming. Like, so when someone would report someone, they have to wait a couple hours before they can report someone else. Or else it'll flag theirs count because they're spamming. So give it time. Something like that could make it possible to incorporate an in-game reporting system. So I know one person has an in-game report button, but no one else does. And it's not, so it's possible, but it would obviously need a cooldown. And maybe if you were seen as an actual reporter, you didn't need that cooldown. You're trustworthy. As I already went over, the 13 plus server is coming thankfully from this. So this was a tier 3 that messaged in the Discord. It is in its final phases of development, and it's just taking a little bit of time. I solidly agree with this language barrier, as I mentioned previously. There are so many people on Russian servers and Indonesian, the Chinese servers, all of those, and yet there are so few people with moderation abilities. And it really puts into perspective how many people we actually need for the moderation. But I could also say, think about this. If we had everyone we needed, a lot of people would have to donate to the Patreon because there isn't enough money. Because no one's going to do it for free. If you're doing it for free, it's usually suspicious. So everyone would have to donate and actually take charge of what we're wanting. But again, not a lot of people can. Some people can't do that because there's a bunch of underage people who can't donate. And then there's other reasons we can't donate everything. It's really it's like an unbalanced set of problems. We want more stuff. We want more moderation, but there isn't enough money for moderation. So look at that scale. Okay, now this next one is a serious issue I want to touch on. Because I know someone who was either 19 or 20. They got banned because something came up that said they made a joke about being underage, and they got limited. Now, they sent a screenshot of their ID, and the person basically said that because it was too fuzzy to read, they could not be unbanned. So they were permanently banned from the 18 plus, even though they were 19, 20. That is a serious problem, because then you've got adults being forced on the PG server. And thinking about that, adults being forced on the PG server, and then the PG server always saying that only adults that are creepy are on there, and it's not actually true. Yes, there are creeps on there, but then there are people who are forced on there because they couldn't show the right type of screen cap, and not a lot of people have access to good cameras. If you don't have an access to a good camera, how are you going to send in a perfect screenshot of your ID that shows your face and everything? It's really, really screwed up. And then there's the community having to moderate. It is such a truth. I've taken it upon myself as being someone who goes on there, looks for suspicious things, investigates, does an actual investigation into there, and figures out if there is problems with a person or not. The community is becoming more of people who moderate than the actual moderators. And that is awful. Because while yes, I do believe the community should be the ones moderating, we should take care of things ourselves sometimes, and we need to do it. It's terrible that we have to do it constantly because we don't know a way to contact anyone. And it takes so long for contacts to get back to us. Okay, slur censoring and offensive words absolutely needs to be cracked down. There needs to be someone, maybe a community manager, someone who can talk to the community about offensive words. Not triggers, because if you have a word that's a trigger, you should put it in your... Let me see if I can show how we do this. I think you have to be on Ponytown to do it. Okay. So, you go to your settings, and you go to yours. And you can publicly change your own filters. So that if you had a trigger, you would have to put that in here to make it your own thing. But as for actual slurs, they should absolutely be filtered out. It is terrible the amount of times you go on and you just see someone slurring. It's like this next thing says, it's infuriating pretty much. The last things we have to go over is that without the player base, you'll be bored of it in 10 minutes. I don't agree. The game is a lot of fun. Overall, Ponytown is tons of fun with the different role plays you'll come into contact with, the different people, the different community members. Everything has so much going for it. There's lots of options, lots of stuff to do. Recently, we got the ability to roll our eyes and wink. It's a lot of fun. And don't even get me started on the different customization for your islands. I love every bit of it. It's not something that you will get bored of in 10 minutes, trust me. It's tons of fun. It just has a lot of rough edges that need to be cracked down on. Absolutely. And I think I know I didn't go over the topic of Pink Lumen. I would like to do that in another video. I would like to get Pink Lumen in a video and discuss with him not only his experience as a moderator, but also the many allegations many of you would associate with Pink Lumen. But for now, let's just close this off with this game is a ton of fun. And there's a lot of possibilities for it. But we absolutely need community managers. We need someone to talk to us and to be brought out of the dark and into the light. Because the game has so much potential, and I'm so excited to see what comes in the future updates. This game has been my life for a very long time due to my disabilities. And maybe one day it'll be perfect. For now, it's a diamond in a rough. So many people use this game for different community things. There's been a lot of Vancouver and different places using the event server to make it where we could come together even throughout this virus. Make it so that we were all together and having celebrations of who we are. And even the species, the regiments, the scouts, there is so much creativity within this community. I just very much wish that the moderation was fixed, because I feel like if that one little crack was patched, people are always going to complain. People are always going to find something to complain about. But if that one little crack was patched, maybe we could possibly have a better game. And I think that's all from me. I'm so sorry about the long video, but this all needed to be said. Again, I will do an update video with a former moderator, Pink Lumen. But for now, I'm going to sign off on this. Remember to fight for peace, love, and hope, and have a good day.